Thanks for watching. I'm here with Judson Turner from the Turner Black Car Service, and I'm really excited. Thanks for chatting with me today, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How's your day going?
It's a pretty busy Friday. Talking about the car club, this introduction to the Rochester market, I think, the last few months has been interesting, articulating exactly how this is going to roll out. And so just talking about some of the aspects of the car club, the driving service, just want to take some time here to articulate some of those things. What is this, first of all? Could you just share with someone, if they don't know what a black car service is, if they don't know what a car club is, talk through what it is you're doing, just in summary, so we can give some context.
All right, sounds good. I think as far as the car service goes, I guess the best model would be think of like a New York City or a large metropolitan area, and how I think people have a general understanding of how those car services work, and that it's just a matter of scheduling. It just makes your life a lot easier to be able to have someone, the same person that you trust, be able to bring you and your family to like events, to get to the airport, to even have odds and ends completed, maybe that be dry cleaning, things of that nature. It just becomes an all-inclusive service. So I think that
you have your own driver, basically. You get your own driver, you get that level of exclusivity. It's not ride share, also to point out. True. It's not a ride share. It's an exclusive kind of offering.
Yeah, I think, and that's something I felt passionate about, is I wanted to bring something different to Rochester, and that it's not Uber, it's not the ride sharing applications. It's something more personal, something more professional. I think there's the elegance, there's the luxury aspect to it, where you're in a luxury vehicle, you're comfortable, you're able to then reclaim some of that time where you normally would be driving or maybe in uncomfortable or inconvenient space. It's quiet, you can get business done. It's a good option.
Right, and for the cars, for the black car service, the vehicle right now, the primary driver is. You want to talk a little bit about the Yukon?
Oh, sure. So the primary vehicle is a 2018 Yukon XL. It's black with black interior. One of the things I liked about the vehicle is its size. It fits 8 comfortably with baggage, or luggage, however you want to term it. A lot of space. It's really a situation where I think it's how I would like to be driven around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and knowing that we field tested, done quite a number of corporate rides, private rides, guests coming in from out of town, I can verify that. Great vehicle, and that's a common vehicle on the high end to use for the black car services in other, say, larger markets. So you got that covered. Can we talk a little bit about how someone would maybe perceive the service? I know that one of the perceptions is that it's going to be just real expensive, even for someone that may spend a lot on rentals or things. They think of that as something that's still maybe another level up and out of reach. Do you want to talk a little bit how you price it, and maybe how it actually is pretty affordable when you think about some comparative stuff?
Well, sure. I think that what happens is that if you're used to spending, a certain amount on Uber, it's pretty, I would say, in the same vein as that. It's not that much more expensive. I think
ride for ride, meaning like ride for ride.
Ride for ride.
Yep.
Correct. And I think, what happens is that I think there is a perception that it may be cost prohibitive, but I look at it like, I think one of the cool things about what we've talked about and kind of what I want to do is get the information out there so people realize, like, wait a minute, it's not something that's kind of a lofty aspiration, something that I can afford right now, something that helps me, and in some ways can even be a cost savings depending on what type of service you're currently using.
Right, and there's a few calculators we've come up with. I don't think they're quite ready to share yet, but the calculators of how many Uber rides do you do in a month locally or if you're traveling. And what we found, I thought was interesting on, local rides, a lot of people are spending a lot more than they think they're spending on the onesie twosie kind of rides, which was a realization I had as well. So there's some cost analysis that have to take place, but really it fits in to a monthly budget pretty reasonably, ride for ride comparison like an Uber, but with that exclusive service. Now, talking a little bit about who this would be especially great for, especially with how we're targeting and how you're trying to engage in the Rochester market in particular. Talk about who this would be specifically good for.
Well, I think well, the good thing about it is it's good for everyone. But I think specifically, I look at a lot of people who want a night out with the wife and don't want to drive, people who want to ride to the airport. I think it works for everyone, but especially I think young professionals, actually professionals of any age, really just looking to kind of reclaim some of their time, looking to kind of make their lives more efficient, but also make their lives a little bit better, more comfortable. I think that if I was to say in a nutshell, I think it'd be like that professional individual.
Absolutely. And now talking about the black car service, really overall the brand that is being built here and the offering is two things. It's the black car service. Also available downtown is the car club. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the car club is and then maybe how those can be utilized together?
Oh, sure. I think the car club is something kind of a brainchild of mine that I've been thinking about for a long time. And then obviously working with Nathan, you've really been able to kind of get that down to where we made it a reality. It's a dream of mine where, oh, it is, right? Where it's one of those things where when you grow up and you love cars and you love the options of having certain cars, then I think it really is something where you can have access to a sports car or an SUV or things of that nature. And I think it works for a large segment of the population who says, maybe I want a second car, or maybe I need a car for a special event, or I just want something that's fun and I want to have something that for the weekend it's affordable, that makes sense. So for the price of a nominal second car, you have access to a fleet. And that's kind of the concept that we're kind of distilling and kind of getting to a point where we say, okay, this is what we can offer to the public. And this is something the public really wants.
Absolutely. And so combined, basically, to summarize kind of how those come together, and then I have a couple more questions on the branding, but how those come together basically is if someone's downtown and they're in the metro area, they have access to, currently there's a runway of 3 vehicles on a timeline. We'll talk about those in a second, but they get access to the vehicles, a certain number per month, certain number of, sessions or pods. If you think of the boat clubs, as well as I've talked to a few pilots that do, timeshare in essence with planes. They're in essence, the members are getting a share of those vehicles and then scheduling, getting X number of rides per month. I think the combination of that for someone that either is wanting to replace a second car or they don't have a vehicle, they live in a downtown area, they want to go, like you said, to Canandaigua, go to the Finger Lakes, go someplace over the weekend, but they don't want to have a car all the time. And then they can fill in the rest of their local transportation needs with the car service. That kind of hybrid model is pretty exciting. Do you want to talk more about the car side of it, the first vehicle, and the timeline of some of the other vehicles for the club?
Sure. I think for me, performance and utility have always been very important. So the first vehicle I thought of was a BMW X6M, which is a high performance SUV crossover. And it's kind of a nice first car because it's something that is functional. You can pack the family in and have room for luggage, or it's something that's just fun to have a daily drive when you just get behind the wheel and really enjoy the performance that BMW offers.
It can rip. That's a great vehicle.
Oh, definitely a good vehicle, definitely fast, and I think within the legal limits, of course. But
of course.
But no, I think, and then after that, I think a Tesla is a nice option. I recently have driven one for the first time, and it really kind of captured my level of driving, and really, I think is a great addition to the brand in that it's it's renewable energy, it's battery powered, it's no gas. The infotainment is next to, second to none. And it's right. Really a great experience. I guess I think if I were to capture what I think I'm trying to kind of bottle with the business is that experience, is that you right. are able, it's a driving experience.
Right. So the first vehicle being the BMW X6M, the next 2 in line being Tesla, and we're thinking, and this is the TBD, but we're thinking a sedan, correct?
Correct. And yep. I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, the sedan, and if you wanted to talk a little bit about the plans for that, and maybe even the next couple after that, is the starting 5 concept that we talked about, maybe forecast that a little bit, because I think people like knowing, is this just sports cars? Is this classic cars? Is this what, when people hear club, but really, no, this is functional. And even from the first vehicle, knowing this is a vehicle that can be driven year round. And then we fill in from there, different lifestyles. So let's talk more about the cars and your vision there.
Sure. I think the X6M is a great starter, followed by the Tesla. And then I think looking a little bit more high end on the third car, possibly a Bentley or something of that kind of range, GT Continental. So it's a coupe that has a lot of power and a lot of prestige, but it's also it's a classy car. So I think that's kind of something that I think is important to me, that there's a certain class that's associated with the club, and that it's not something that's like strictly raced out cars. It's functional, but it's classy. So I think when you look at cars that fit into that framework, you're looking at like a Porsche 911, edition that I think will be coming shortly. In addition to the Porsche 911, I think that maybe not necessarily that first starting 5, but probably shortly after that, a Ferrari, and then possibly a Lamborghini. Something that would be it's a little bit more prestigious, a little bit more limited in the amount of miles that would be available for, but still very enjoyable, very classy, very practical in the sense that it's something you're not buying a Lamborghini, you're buying a portion of one. So you're able to enjoy that on a budget.
I love being able to use the word practical in a sentence with those two vehicles. But practically, way more practically than taking on the full burden of that, but going into this fractional mindset. People that are specific to a location, they travel in and out, they like nice things. People that have a feeling of, they want it to be efficient. I've talked to a number, and from our focus groups and surveys, people still, even if we all want nice things, but we do like that efficiency, and that's more important to people now than ever. And so getting a great lineup of cars that are fun to drive, functional year round, and then knowing that as they get more exclusive, because it's done in a fractional way, it can make sense in a monthly fee to spread those out. And then the great unique thing about the car service being that if someone's a member of the car club, they can also get, fill-in rides, flexible rides around town with the Black Car Service, which I think that combination is real powerful. So I know there's a lot more details we can get into, but this just by way of introduction of the concept to some interested folks, just a little detail. Timeline-wise, we do have a timeline on the vehicles and the subscriptions. So we're still in the mode of capturing the last few commitments to get rolling and put this in a timeline. So if you have more questions, reach out to either one of us for more details. We can share that with you. We have some documentation on that and a great group forming here downtown. And Judson, anything else you want to leave? Just some perspective. I know we're going to hit some more details soon, but just give some perspective as we wrap up.
Oh, sure. I think the way I look at it is I really look at, it's kind of something that's, probably not the best phrase kind of concept, but I like to look at things that provide a life hack for me. So for me, whenever I can reclaim time, whenever I can improve the experience of something that's a nominal, everyday thing, like driving, it's important. So I think that I know that when I talk to my friends and when I talk to people, that a lot of times it boils down to having a life hack, making my life a little easier. I think both companies, both offerings definitely fall into that category.
Absolutely. I second that wholeheartedly. More details forthcoming. I'm real excited for this project. I know that a growing group in Rochester are excited about it. So thanks for your time, Judson. We'll talk again real soon.
Well, thank you. It's great.